The black emptiness of space stretched far beyond human eyes. Stars shimmered like cold fires, scattered across the dark ocean of the universe. At the edge of the solar system, beyond Pluto's lonely orbit, there was a small human outpost called Deep Space Listening Station 9. It was not a famous place. Few even remembered it existed. But this forgotten station was about to hear something no human had heard before. Commander Elias Reyes stood alone in the main control room. The glow from the monitors painted his face blue and green. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he didn't notice. His eyes stayed locked on the signal readings. He had worked here for 8 years, scanning the void for unusual sounds. Usually it was only background noise, cosmic radiation, echoes from old satellites, or the whispers of dead stars. But tonight, something was different. At first, it came as a low hum, almost too quiet to notice. Reyes leaned closer to the console, adjusting the frequency. The hum grew sharper, more focused. Then, a voice spoke. It was not human. The voice was smooth, layered with strange tones that no human throat could make. It spoke in perfect English, but every word carried a weight that pressed against Reyes's chest. People of Earth. The Valor Empire greets you. Reyes froze. His heart thudded like a war drum in his chest. His first thought was that this had to be a prank. But no prankster could beam a clear message from light years away. He quickly checked the source. The signal was coming from outside the solar system, moving toward Jupiter at incredible speed. We have watched you for some time, the voice continued. We wish to speak with your leaders. Prepare to meet us where your red world dances with the giant of storms. Reyes didn't need to think twice. Red world meant Mars. Giant of storms meant Jupiter. Somewhere between those two planets. They wanted a meeting. His fingers flew across the control panel, recording every second of the transmission. Then the voice stopped. No static, no background noise. Only silence, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Reyes called. Earth's Defense Command immediately. 2 hours later, the highest-ranking officers of Earth's United Defense Force gathered in a secure briefing room under the oceans of the Pacific. The meeting was urgent, summoned in the dead of night. Admiral Amina Darzi, the Supreme Commander of the fleet, stood at the head of the table. Her expression was sharp and unreadable. Reyes's recorded message played for the room. Every officer sat in tense silence as the alien voice spoke. When the transmission ended, the lights came back on, and the room erupted in whispers. Is it real? One general asked. Yes, Admiral Darzi said without hesitation. We checked the signal. Origin, it's not from any human source. They're coming from outside our system, and they will be here in days, not months. Some officers looked thrilled. Others looked pale. Do we respond? Asked a diplomat from the Earth Coalition. We will, Darzi said, but not with words alone. While politicians prepared their official welcome message, the military prepared something else entirely. Hidden beneath the cold oceans of Europa, human engineers worked on the Aegis fleet, Earth's most advanced warships. These ships were officially under development, but in reality they were fully armed and ready for combat. A secret order was sent to the fleet. Move to Jupiter's orbit. Cloak until further notice. To the public, the news channels were already spinning the event as a historic meeting. Talk show hosts smiled and spoke of friendship with the stars. But behind closed doors, Earth's leaders didn't trust the Valor Empire. Humanity had been to strange places before. The derelict station around Tau Ceti, the frozen alien city under Enceladus, and the incident at Barnard's Star, which was still classified. If these Valori were truly an empire, then they were not explorers. They were rulers, and rulers always came with demands. On the 5th day after the signal, Reyes found himself aboard the ESS Valiant, the lead ship of the Aegis fleet. The ship was a sleek spear of black steel and armor, her hull laced with invisible shield generators. She carried railguns that could punch through a moon's crust and torpedoes guided by near-sentient targeting AIs. From the observation deck, Jupiter loomed huge and terrible, its storms swirling like the eyes of ancient gods. Beyond it, the stars waited in silence. That silence didn't last. At exactly 400 hours, the fleet's long-range sensors caught movement. Not a single contact, hundreds of them coming from the dark beyond Saturn. Reyes leaned over the tactical display. "That's a lot of ships," he said quietly. "More than I expected," murmured Captain Lin, the Valiant's commander. "And that's just the ones we can see." The alien ships were enormous. The lead vessel was shaped like a crescent moon, spinning slowly with bright rings of blue light along its edges. Smaller ships flew in perfect formation around it, their hulls shimmering like liquid metal. The fleet stopped just beyond Jupiter's orbit. Then, without warning, a transmission came through. This time, it was not a recording. The face of a Vayari appeared on the main screen. It was unsettling. Its skin was pale silver, almost metallic, and its eyes glowed with a shifting color, green, then gold, then blue. Its voice was the same one Reyes had heard at the listening post. "People of Earth," the alien said again. "We are pleased. You accepted our invitation." Captain Lin stepped forward. "I am Captain Lin of the Earth spaceship Valiant. Who speaks for the Vayari Empire?" "I am Envoy Sarek. I speak for our rulers. You are a young species, yet you have already reached for the stars. This interests us." "Why now?" Lin asked. "We've been in space for decades. Why contact us only today?" The alien's eyes shifted color again. "Because until now, you were not ready. But the time has come for you to choose your place in the order of things." Reyes didn't like the sound of that. For the next hour, the Vayari spoke in circles. They praised humanity's bravery, but warned of great dangers that required guidance. They offered an invitation to join their empire, a place among hundreds of worlds united under their law. But every human officer in that room heard the same hidden message: join us or be left alone in the dark. Then came something strange. As the official meeting wrapped up, human intelligence officers intercepted a short-range transmission between two Vayari escort ships. It was not encrypted. Perhaps they thought humans couldn't understand their native language. But the translation AI worked quickly. "Phase 1 begins tonight," one alien voice said. That night, as Earth's fleet maintained position near Jupiter, something moved behind Saturn. It was huge, far bigger than the Vayari flagship. Its dark shape blotted out the stars, drifting silently. No one on the human ships knew what it was, but Reyes felt the hairs on his neck stand up. Something told him the signal he had heard 5 days ago was only the beginning, and whatever was coming next, it was not going to be friendly. The Vayari flagship moved closer to Jupiter's orbit, its silver hull reflecting the light of the distant sun. From the human fleet, it looked like a floating city, over 15 kilometers long, its surface alive with shifting patterns of blue and white light. Enormous rings spun slowly around the vessel, generating energy fields that no human scientist could fully understand. Commander Reyes stood on the bridge of the ESS Valiant, staring at the alien ship through the forward viewport. Even after years, in space, he had never seen anything like it. There was a strange beauty to the Vayari vessel, but also a quiet threat, like a blade made from crystal. Captain Lin gave the order. "Bring us forward, but keep our shields active. No weapons lock unless they target us first." The Valiant moved into position, accompanied by 2 other human ships, the Resolute and the Indomitable. Behind them, the rest of the Aegis fleet remained cloaked, waiting in the shadows. Earth was not going to reveal all its cards just yet. The comms officer's voice broke the silence. Incoming transmission from the Valor flagship. They request a visual channel. Put it through, Lynn said. The main screen lit up, showing the face of Envoy Sarek. His silver skin seemed to ripple faintly, as though it were alive. His eyes shifted from gold to deep blue as he spoke. "Humans," he said in his smooth, echoing voice. "The Valor Empire welcomes you. This is a day of significance. Few species are granted such an audience." Captain Lynn stood tall, her voice calm. "We are honored to meet you, but we would like to know the purpose of this meeting." Purpose? Sarek's expression didn't change. "To determine your place in the galaxy. We have watched you rise from your cradle. You are unusual. We wish to guide you, so you may grow without destroying yourselves." Reyes felt his jaw tighten. Guide was another word for control. He had seen this kind of diplomacy before, not in space, but on Earth in old history books. Empires always spoke softly before they took what they wanted. Lynn's eyes narrowed. "And if we choose to guide ourselves?" The alien's shifting eyes locked on hers. "Then you may try. But the galaxy is dangerous, and those without allies are often lost." While the meeting continued, the Valiant's intelligence officers worked quietly in the background. They monitored the alien fleet's comms traffic, scanning for anything unusual. And then they found it. Short bursts of unencrypted transmissions between smaller Valor ships. It took minutes to translate. The words were simple but alarming. "Phase 1 begins tonight." Reyes read the message twice, then leaned toward, Captain Lynn. "They're planning something. Phase 1, no details, but it's set for tonight." Lynn kept her expression neutral, so the alien envoy wouldn't notice her reaction. "Noted," she said softly. Envoy Sarek's voice grew warmer, almost rehearsed. "We invite your leaders to send representatives aboard our flagship. We will speak not only of peace, but of the future we can build together." Captain Lynn gave a diplomatic smile. "We will consider your invitation." "Do not take too long," Sarek said. "Time is not your ally." With that, the transmission ended. The alien fleet remained in place, but Reyes noticed their formation tightening. A subtle shift, as if they were preparing for movement. In the war room aboard the Valiant, the senior officers gathered around a holographic display of the alien. "Ships! They're testing us," said Rear Admiral Cho. "They want to see if we'll walk into their flagship unarmed. I say we don't go at all. If we refuse, they'll take it as hostility," countered Captain Lynn. "But if we go, we risk being taken hostage." Reyes studied the alien ship's rotating energy rings on the hologram. "I think they've already started whatever phase 1 is. This meeting was just a distraction." "What do you suggest?" Lynn asked him. "Send a team," Reyes said slowly. "But make sure we're ready to move if things turn bad. And we should scan their flagship the moment we get close." By evening, the decision was made. A small shuttle from the Valiant would approach the Valor flagship for the peace talks. Reyes was assigned to the team along with 2 diplomats and a Marine escort. As the shuttle detached from the Valiant, Reyes glanced out the side window. In the distance, Saturn's rings shimmered in the starlight. Beyond them, in the cold, black void, he thought he saw movement, a shadow slipping between the stars. He felt that same unease he had felt at the listening post. The signal had been only the start. The Valor's words were only part of the truth. Something else was out there, watching, waiting. The shuttle from the Valiant moved slowly toward the Valor flagship, its small engines humming in the silence of space. Commander Reyes sat strapped into his seat, eyes fixed on the massive alien vessel ahead. Its silver surface seemed to flow like liquid metal, with glowing lines that pulsed in a rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. He tried not to stare too long. The patterns made his head ache. Beside him, diplomat Hannah Voss reviewed her prepared speech for the meeting. She looked calm, but her hand tapped the side of her datapad again and again. Across from them, 4 Marines in black combat armor sat ready, their helmets resting on their knees. The team was supposed to be symbolic, a sign of trust, but Reyes knew their real purpose. If things went wrong, they would be the first line of defense. The shuttle passed through a shimmering blue field before entering a vast docking bay. Hundreds of alien crew members moved with perfect coordination, their silver and blue uniforms reflecting the light. None of them looked at the humans directly. They simply continued their work, silent and precise. A tall figure approached as the shuttle landed. It was Envoy Sarek himself, flanked by 2 armored guards, whose armor looked like it was made from solid light. "Welcome aboard the Pride of Valor," Sarek said smoothly. "You honor us with your presence." Reyes stepped. Off the shuttle, his eyes scanning the bay. No visible weapons, no obvious traps, but the air felt heavy. He noticed strange devices along the walls, their shapes unfamiliar. As they walked through the corridors, Reyes kept one ear on the conversation between Sarek and Hannah Voss. The diplomat asked about trade, culture, and the Vayari Empire's laws. Sarek answered every question politely, but never directly. His words were like smoke, hard to hold on to. Back on the Valiant, Captain Lin monitored the shuttle's position. The tactical officer suddenly spoke up. "Captain, we're detecting multiple small objects entering Earth's atmosphere." Lin's eyes narrowed. "From where?" "From the far side of the moon. No transponders. They're too small to be. Ships. Probably drones." "Are they Vayari?" "Unknown. But the timing is suspicious." Lin made a decision. "Send a warning to Earth Defense Command. Full alert." On Earth, the night sky above several major cities shimmered as the first alien drones descended. They moved silently, invisible to radar, scanning buildings and streets. Most people didn't notice. They looked like faint sparks in the dark, but military watchers did. Orders were given quietly. Track, don't engage. Inside the Vayari, flagship. Reyes felt a faint vibration under his boots. It wasn't from the ship's engines. It was something else, deeper. His comm earpiece buzzed with a secure message from the Valiant. "Unidentified drones over Earth. Possible hostile reconnaissance. Stay alert." Reyes didn't react outwardly, but he felt his pulse quicken. The words from the intercepted message came back to him. Phase 1 begins tonight. The meeting chamber they entered was vast, with a floor that glowed faintly underfoot. A long table of black crystal stretched across the room, with seats carved to fit Vayari forms. Sarek gestured for the humans to sit. "Before we speak of alliances," Sarek said, "you must understand the dangers beyond your system. There are powers older than you can imagine. Alone, you will fall to them." Hannah Voss smiled politely. "And with the Vayari Empire? With us, you will survive." Reyes spoke for the first time. "And what does survival cost?" Sarek's golden eyes fixed on him. "Everything you think of as yours." For a moment, the room was silent. Then the alien diplomat's tone softened again, as if the words had never been spoken. Far from Jupiter, deep in the asteroid belt, a human mining station suddenly lost contact. Its last recorded transmission showed strange lights approaching the station, lights that moved like living things. On the Valiant, Captain Lin received the report. Her voice was calm but cold. It started. Back aboard the Vayari flagship, Reyes leaned closer to Hannah and whispered, "We need to leave. Now." Hannah gave the slightest nod. The Marines shifted in their seats. Sarek watched them closely, and for the first time he smiled. But it was not a friendly smile. Phase. "One is already underway, Commander," the alien said quietly. "You are simply too late to stop it." The moment Reyes and the human delegation stepped back onto their shuttle, he ordered the pilot to leave the Valor flagship immediately. There was no ceremony, no polite farewell. The alien guards watched in silence as the small craft lifted, off and slipped out through the shimmering energy field into open space. Inside the shuttle, Reyes sat stiff, helmet now in his hands. His jaw was tight, his voice low. "They've already started. Those drones over Earth aren't just scanning. They're mapping targets." One of the Marines spoke up. "We should hit them before they can act." Reyes nodded, but he knew that decision wasn't his to make. It was up to Captain Lin. Back aboard the Valiant, Captain Lin was already in the war room with her senior officers. Holographic images of Earth lit up the table, red dots spreading across the planet's surface where the alien drones had been detected. "They're not attacking," said the tactical officer. "They're marking." "Marking what?" asked Rear Admiral Cho. "Everything that matters," Lin replied. "Power plants, military bases, shipyards, even hospitals. This is preparation for a strike." There was a long silence before she gave her order. "We're not going to wait. Prepare the railguns. Target their drones in low orbit first, then hit the cloaked escorts near Jupiter." The Valiant's gunnery crews moved with mechanical speed. Massive magnetic rails hummed with stored energy, ready to fire projectiles faster than sound could. Travel in air. Lin opened a secure channel to the Resolute and Indomitable. "We'll call it a training drill for the record, but this is live fire. Make it clean. Make it fast." In orbit above Earth, a Valor reconnaissance drone hovered silently over a city, invisible to human eyes. Without warning, a hypervelocity. Slug tore through it, shredding the alien machine into molten fragments before it even registered the shot. Across the planet, more drones were destroyed within seconds. Some by railgun fire, others by stealth missiles launched from submarines hidden in the deep oceans. The Valor's hidden surveillance network was gone in less than 3 minutes. Near Jupiter, cloaked alien escort ships suddenly found themselves targeted. The humans' advanced detection AI, Athena, had learned to read the faint gravitational distortions of their cloaks. The moment a lock was established, the Valiant's forward. Railguns unleashed a storm of fire. 2 Valor escorts were destroyed instantly. The rest scattered, breaking formation. On the alien flagship, alarms blared in deep, resonant tones. Envoy Sarek stood on the command deck, his voice calm but his eyes burning gold. "So, the young species has teeth." Reyes returned to the Valiant just in time to feel the ship shudder under the recoil of its main guns. "You started without me," he said, strapping himself into a console seat. "We couldn't wait," Lin replied. "The drones were too close to home." Through the viewport, Reyes could see the alien flagship holding position. It hadn't fired a single shot yet. That worried him. "They're not responding." "Why?" "Maybe they're waiting for reinforcements," Lin said. Her guess proved correct. Long-range scanners suddenly lit up with dozens of new contacts beyond Saturn, large ones moving fast. "They're not retreating," said the tactical officer. "They're calling the rest of the pack." Lin turned to Reyes. "Then we hit harder before they get here?" The Valiant and her sister ships launched a final wave of strikes against the remaining Valor escorts, crippling 3 more and forcing the survivors to retreat toward the flagship. Still, the massive alien vessel did nothing. No counterattack, no movement. Reyes stared at it, his gut twisting. "They're letting us win these small fights on purpose." "Why would they do that?" Cho asked. "To make us think we're in control," Reyes said. "So when they hit back, it'll be twice as hard." The quiet between fleets was thick and unnatural. Every sensor was locked on the Valor flagship. Every human gun was ready to fire again. Then, without warning, the alien vessel sent out a short, encrypted burst toward deep space. Athena translated only 3 words. Phase 2 begins. The Eclipse drifted in the void, its engines silent, its weapons cold, hidden deep inside the shattered remains of an asteroid belt. The crew waited in tense silence, every light dimmed to keep them invisible to enemy scanners. Outside, thousands of jagged rocks floated aimlessly, a graveyard of ancient collisions. Perfect cover for the ambush. Commander Arik stood at the tactical table, eyes locked on the holographic map, watching the alien fleet's slow, predictable advance. They had taken the bait. The enemy flagship, massive and arrogant, led the formation straight into the kill zone, unaware that Earth's most dangerous warship lay in wait just a few kilometers away. "Hold fire," Arik whispered, his voice a low growl. Every second of restraint felt like an eternity. The aliens scanned the asteroids, but their sensors couldn't tell the difference between cold rock and a human ship with its systems in stealth mode. Then, without warning, the asteroid field lit up. Hidden mines, seeded days earlier, exploded with blinding flashes, tearing apart the enemy's front lines. Shock rippled through the alien formation as their ships scrambled to respond. "Now," Arik ordered. The Eclipse roared to life, weapons firing in rapid succession, spearing through enemy hulls before their shields could rise. In less than a minute, chaos consumed the fleet. But Arik's eyes narrowed. Not all ships were falling. Back. One alien warship, darker than the rest, was moving deliberately toward them, its weapons already charging. The alien war fleet moved through the void like a dark storm. Hundreds of ships, each armed with weapons capable of burning cities to ash, closed in on the solar system. Their leaders were confident, too confident. They believed the earlier destruction of their scout fleet was an accident or a lucky strike from Earth's outdated defenses. This arrogance blinded them to the truth. Humanity had been preparing for this war far longer than anyone knew. At the edge of Neptune's orbit, they made their first mistake. They slowed down. The fleet adjusted formation, creating a perfect grid for scanning and targeting, an old military habit meant to show strength. But in the deep cold beyond Neptune, something stirred. It was silent, massive, and invisible to alien sensors. The Titan's spear, humanity's most advanced warship, had been waiting there in full stealth. Its black hull drank in the starlight, rendering it nearly invisible. Inside, Captain Rain watched the alien fleet through tactical overlays, his expression cold. "Lock targets," he ordered. A hum filled the ship as the massive coil lances charged. The aliens had no warning when the first shot lanced through the void, splitting one of their destroyers in half. It was not a missile or a laser. It was a kinetic slug traveling so fast that by the time the explosion bloomed, 2 more ships were already gone. Panic rippled through the alien fleet. Their formation broke as they scrambled to react. In that single moment, the balance of power shifted. Humanity had drawn first blood, and the enemy finally realized this was no weak prey. They had stumbled into the jaws of a predator. The alien fleet had expected a swift victory. Their warships moved like a tidal wave, their weapons systems locking onto the Resolute with mathematical precision. But from the first moment, the battle did not go as they had planned. Captain Rains stood at the heart of the command deck, eyes fixed on the tactical display, his voice calm yet commanding. "Engage Phase 2, no warnings." In an instant, the Resolute's hidden weapon bays opened, revealing armaments the galaxy had never seen, mass drivers, plasma lances, and railguns so powerful they could punch through a moon's crust. The alien dreadnoughts moved to intercept, their shields shimmering under incoming fire. But the Resolute's targeting was too fast, too precise. Every shot hit a critical point. One by one, the enemy ships turned into drifting hulks. The enemy commander barked frantic orders, deploying. Fighters in desperate swarms. They thought numbers would overwhelm the human ship. But the Resolute unleashed a storm of point defense fire, shredding them before they could get close. The galaxy had called humans reckless. Today, they would call them unstoppable. Still, Rains knew this was only the opening act. His ship had won the first exchange, but the full weight of the alien empire was still out there, and they would not underestimate humanity again. The galaxy had never seen silence like this before. The great empires, once loud with war fleets and political threats, had fallen into a hushed tension. All eyes were fixed on one point in space, a region now called the Graveyard of Stars. It was there, in the black void, that humanity's warship Erebus drifted, waiting. No one dared cross its path. Whispers traveled faster than light. Fleets had tried to challenge it, and none had returned. The alien admirals spoke in closed rooms, their voices shaking. Reports showed massive starships reduced to molten fragments in minutes. Rumors spread that Erebus carried weapons that could tear apart space itself. But the truth was worse. It carried humans who had no intention of bowing to the galaxy's rules. And now, something was changing. Distant sensor arrays began detecting movement. Slow, deliberate, like a predator stretching after a long sleep. The Erebus was moving again. In command chambers across the galaxy, leaders ordered fleets to stand ready. Yet deep inside, they knew readiness would mean nothing. Because when the stars stopped shining, it would not be because of time or nature. It would be because humanity had decided it was time to end the war once and for all. The alien armada, broken and scattered, pulled back into the shadows of the outer systems. Their leaders gathered in secret, whispering desperate plans in cold, dark halls. They had underestimated humanity once, and it had cost them fleets, worlds, and allies. Now, they sought a final chance, a single, decisive strike that could end. The war before humanity's wrath consumed them entirely. A massive war council was called aboard a station deep within a nebula, hidden from human sensors. The alien commanders spoke of a spear of annihilation, a colossal weapon capable of tearing through even Earth's Titan warships. They planned to unite every remaining ship, every surviving warrior, into one suicidal assault. This would not be a war of attrition. This would be a storm of destruction, aimed directly at humanity's heart. But Earth was not blind. The Titan warship Erebus had already traced their movements, its AI weaving through alien communication networks like a phantom. Captain Reyes read the intercepted plans in silence, his jaw set, his eyes cold. The enemy wanted a decisive end, so humanity would give them one. Orders rippled across the human fleets, summoning every warship capable of combat to a single rally point. This would not be a battle fought in the shadows. It would be a confrontation so absolute that the galaxy would never again doubt humanity's resolve. As the alien fleets gathered in the nebula's veil, confident in their secrecy, human warships began to arrive at the edges of their hiding place. One by one, massive silhouettes emerged from hyperspace, silent giants draped in steel and firepower. The aliens believed they were the hunters, but the trap had already closed. Humanity had been patient, watching, waiting for the enemy to gather in one place. And now, with the full weight of Earth's armada above them, the enemy's last gamble would become their final grave. The battle was about to begin, and the void itself seemed to hold its breath. The galaxy was quiet, too quiet. The smoke of battle still drifted through the void, a dark shroud over shattered fleets and burning worlds. In the center of it all floated Earth's warship Erebus, its hull scarred but still gleaming like a predator at rest. No alien transmission dared to break the silence. The Council's mighty empires, once proud and unshaken, had vanished into hiding. Entire sectors had gone dark, not from destruction, but from fear. Humanity had not just won, They had reminded the stars why they should never have been provoked. The crew stood on the bridge, their eyes fixed on the distant galaxies that had once mocked them. Captain Arlen gave the final order. "Stand down, weapons. Let them remember this day in silence." The Erebus turned slowly and began its long journey home, leaving behind a galaxy that would think twice before ever challenging Earth again. Humanity's wrath had burned bright, and now, in the aftermath, it was the silence that truly terrified the stars.